When it comes to beat-em-ups and the Mega Drive, it's pretty easy to get whipped up into a frenzy of hype for the Streets of Rage games. But when you like a genre or even a console in its library, it's always interesting to dig a little further under the surface and see what else is available. Streets of Rage and Golden Axe are certainly heavy hitters in the world of beat-em-ups, but let's explore 5 Mega Drive beat-em-ups that aren't as widely discussed and see how they measure up. Kageki Fists of Steel isn't your traditional Mega Drive belt scroller. Each stage of Kageki features a locked arena to battle your foes in, and the controls are very bare bones with only a jump, quick attack and strong attack to worry about. You play as Ken, who must fight his way up every floor of a tower block filled with thugs to rescue your kidnapped girlfriend. Because the controls are so limited, Kageki benefits from shorter stages and a bigger focus on weaving about the stage to avoid your opponent's attacks and waiting for an opening to get yours in. It's not a deep game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's got a unique setup that reminds us of The Raid, but like 20 years before it. Also, the super deformed characters are super expressive, which makes the progression through the game quite enjoyable as you uncover the next wacky character waiting to have his teeth stoved in.
Hey, let's fight!
Venom and Spider-Man in Separation Anxiety is the 1995 follow-up to Maximum Carnage, which is infamous for its red cartridge shell. As Spider-Man and Venom, you can attack, jump and use various web-based abilities to navigate the streets and defeat as many thugs as possible in your quest to once again defeat the symbiote Carnage. Separation Anxiety is certainly a decent playing game, and there's a lot of different attacks and throws to pull off, and you can even stick to walls and search buildings for power-ups, which adds some variety. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have a lot of enemy variety, and it makes the game feel very repetitive. It's also quite an ugly game, especially this late in the Mega Drive's lifespan. Spider-Man fans will certainly get a kick out of it, but don't expect Separation Anxiety to hold your attention for very long. Splatterhouse 3 is an interesting diversion for the franchise in that it moves away from the single-plane action of the first two games in favour of a fully explorable mansion that you need to navigate to find your partner Jennifer in the quickest time possible as she has been infected by her captors. As you defeat all the enemies in a room, you unlock various doors, and using the in-game map, it's your job to plot the best route through the stage to save Jennifer in time. If you don't get to Jennifer in time, then she dies, but the game actually continues giving you various endings depending on who you save. It's a really creative take on the Splatterhouse formula that works within its horror movie theming, but does become a little repetitive when compared to the first two games, which contain more varied locations and set pieces, and a little more depth to the action. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Movie game puts you in control of any of the 5 Rangers as you go after Ivan Ooze and his army of minions. You can even change what ranger you control between stages, which makes exploring their abilities even more accessible than just being locked in with one character for the whole game. The action feels really nice, with a satisfying heft to the attacks and a decent variety of moves to explore, but sadly the game falls down due to its lack of enemy variety. You're basically always fighting oozemen for long stretches of time, and it quickly becomes tedious. This is a real shame because the foundations for a decent Power Rangers beat 'em up are here, but the stages needed more spectacle and the enemies needed to showcase more variety. It's very difficult to get excited about attacking the same enemy over and over again, even if the Power Rangers franchise is near and dear to you. Finally, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Hyperstone Heist, and it's a weird one. This title is clearly based on the arcade Turtles in Time game, but only features 5 locations. What it does is lengthen every featured stage dramatically, and features a lot of exclusive content that the arcade and SNES versions don't have. It's a much faster game as well, with the dash ability now assigned to the C button, and the enemies generally being more aggressive. Think of Hyperstone Heist as like Turtles in Time the Master levels, and you get a good idea as to what it's about. Sadly, it's not as good as Turtles in Time, but thankfully it's still a very strong TMNT brawler that Mega Drive owners will not want to miss. Crucially, the action feels really satisfying, and there's plenty of variety in the locales and enemies to keep things engaging. It's a good time even if it's slightly inferior to the game it's based on.